Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey guys. Yeah, there's some... You know, this pie, it tastes... I don't know, there's a hint of, I can't quite put my finger on what it is, but... And while we figure out what's, almost like somebody said...
Yeah,
well, guys,
it's
Canadian, but I would know that.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us on today's Better Call Saul after show here at AfterBuzz TV, where we're enjoying some delicious squat cobbler. Oh God, it's so ridiculous. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining us. I'm your host, Zach Wilson. We're talking about Cobbler, episode 202 of Better Call Saul, directed by Terry McDonough, written by Jennifer Hutchison. This was a great episode.
This was.
Oh, yeah.
This was like, if I thought there was anything like that the show needed to get going in the first episode of the season, this episode is just like, all right, we're off to the races.
I'm addicted, Zach. I'm
so
sorry.
much fun. I mean, Steven, I know how much you love your squat cobbler.
I love my squat cobbler. I make it at home every night.
Oh God.
You can see the videos on my private
No,
YouTube.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. Well, guys, let me
I
introduce
almost looked
the rest
at
of the
videos.
panel who's just chowing down on this what do you call it? Dutch apple ass.
Dutch apple ass.
Stephen Lemieux
Cheers. Thank you for joining us. You can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux.
and Lacretia Lyon.
All right, yes, again, cheers and good squats to you today.
Ugh.
Order in the court.
Order
and if
in
you
the
can
court.
spell
All
my
right,
name
yes.
right, you can find me on Twitter.
I bring this Better Call
Yes.
Saul after show to order with this little foam hammer.
Gavel. It's a gavel, Zach.
It's a gavel.
Yeah.
If you can
Just
get a
shooting
squat
it.
cobbler, you can get a gavel.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Expand your dictionary.
Let's dig into this episode as we just dug into the pie. What?
I wonder what the outfit he wore was.
Oh my God. Well, okay.
I'm
We'll get to
hoping
that.
sad
We'll
clown.
get to that. We're gonna circle back to the pie because I want to start off talking about what happened right up at the top with Chuck and the
piano.
just because it kicked us off and we were listening to it, and that was as you saw the sheet music in the episode, so I want to talk about it. And that was Sicilian, which is Sicilian. I'm not Italian. I don't know how to pronounce things. But it's an opera, and it's from what I understand, it's about it's about a man who finds out that his wife is in love with his brother.
Happens to the best of us.
Always.
Yeah.
I'll watch the soaps.
Of course, since that music is being played by our main character's brother, it has a very interesting inference. Steven just can't stop. All right.
I'm sorry. It has a strong influence because it's his brother playing a song.
Yeah, and
about a
I
woman.
don't think it's meant as anything literal. Like there's any like love between
Kim
and Chuck. But I think the idea of a man who like finds out that his brother is betraying him in one way or another is very strong. It's
not even that. If you want to go deep into it, and sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, please.
Being a lawyer is his true love. He's married to the job, and that's why he wouldn't let Jimmy become a lawyer at his firm, because that's his area. He doesn't want his brother taking over and being better at him at his area of expertise, because he worked so hard for it. And now that Jimmy is essentially stealing his wife from him, if you're really going to dive into that way,
Lady Justice.
Yes.
Lady Justice, yeah. I mean, he's obviously jealous of the success Jimmy's having, and he is obviously skeptical of Jimmy's ability. But I think that would make the most sense if you're going to interpret the song as a meaning for the show.
Yeah, I totally agree. I thought it, I never saw anything between Chuck and Kim, and I think Chuck could care less about her. I mean, he still sees her as his junior associate anyway. But yeah, like, he is pissed that Jimmy, his screw-up little brother, is getting his life without, with this laissez-faire attitude, not this hard work that he did.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's sort of that, if you were to put 20 years of your life into something, working hard, busting your ass every day to make sure that you got it. Like, who knows what relationships Chuck has given up in order to get to where he is? Who knows what sacrifices he's made, places he wanted to visit, people he wanted to date or just be friends with, anything. He had to sacrifice all that to get to where he is. And Jimmy lived his whole life just being a screw-up, being Slippin' Jimmy, and he slipped his way right into the job. Like, he's only when Howard points out, he's on a partner track at Davis and Maine from one case. And that, I can see how that would be frustrating. As much as I'm on Jimmy's side, because we can see how hard he's fighting for this now, regardless of what his life was before, I get it. I get why that could be frustrating to Chuck.
Yeah, I understand Chuck's point of view because, as a sibling myself, if my brothers, had come in and just, taken away the job I'd worked really hard for, I'd be, pissed too. I'd be like, bitch, you just skate in and it all gets handed to you.
I just think it's ironic because it's always been Jimmy and his brother's shadow. Especially since he was the mail boy at his brother's company. And now Jimmy's coming up on his own and his brother's dealing with mental issues where he can't be the guy. He can't be... And you notice that Jimmy says James McGill. He's really owning up to who he is now as opposed to hiding behind the last name and hiding behind and trying to avoid being associated with his brother. I don't know. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine that this is the kind of thing that leads him to eventually change his name, is that he just doesn't want to be associated with Chuck anymore. He wants Jimmy was before last season, he wanted to be with his brother. He wanted to be his sidekick or his teammate, right alongside him, fighting the good fight. That was the dream that he saw. But I think what we're seeing now is he's starting to realize that that's not the case, and so the McGill name is going to forever attach him to his, for right now, more successful brother. Driving forward, I imagine that would be the impetus for, well, why don't I be a Goodman, if you will.
Saul Goodman.
I think it's also that his brother, as long as he has the McGill name, his brother has some control over him. Because you're in Albuquerque, right? You have two big law firms. You have David and Maine, and you have the one his brother started. It's you're never going to get away from that as long as you have the same name.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. Do you think that Chuck was pissed at Howard?
I think he was, because to me, I got a lot of subtext in the Chuck-Howard conversation, because to me, it almost seemed like Howard, well, he's kind of a Weasley guy. I think he was actually impressed with Jimmy, is how he came off. I mean, there was not a lot said, but you could just see in their facial expressions. And Chuck's just phony congratulations and all this, and they're just it's just the looks they were giving each other. To me, just said that Howard's kind of impressed that Jimmy's been able to do this, while Chuck is just jealous, really.
I think the reason is right now you have a sibling rivalry. Mm-hmm. And from the outside, nobody can understand a sibling rivalry. Because from the outside looking in, you see two kids that are generally very talented at what they do. Only within the family do you see the sows of rebellion, with James being jealous of Jimmy being in the spotlight now, or Jimmy being crushed that James doesn't want to work with him. It's Howard was put in a tough position, but Jimmy stood up to him in season 1. So the fact that Jimmy stood up to him showed that he can do the job and showed that he can create this huge case that brings him all the way up to partner track at their competing law firm. That's impressive. Anyone would be impressed by that. I mean, and if you're gonna, I think it's funny because a lot of people like to judge people on what they hear. as opposed to like the person themselves. And I think Howard's successful enough that he's judged Jimmy based on everything James has said. But Jimmy has proven himself in his eyes, so now he can only judge Jimmy on what Jimmy has done, which is highly impressive. So I don't think Howard is actively against Jimmy at any point anymore.
No.
I think it's just...
Well, that's the interesting thing. At the big reveal at the end of last season, I don't think Howard was ever against Jimmy. I think he actually likes him.
Yeah.
He sees this kid who's like...
Just tough situation.
Even if he had even if he's a little later on in his life, in his career, like he's clearly fighting for this. Like he's not... he takes like shortcuts and everything, but he's smart. You can tell, like, within, like, if you worked with Jimmy McGill, you know that this is a smart individual who knows how to get stuff done. That's the kind of person you want on your team if you're running a law firm.
Yeah, you work smart, not hard. And I think that's what pisses people off, like Chuck, who've done this hard work, but they don't have that kind of smarmy, slipping Jimmy in them to skate around stuff. I mean, that's the thing guys like Chuck that are hard workers, worker bees, they don't understand that some people can just kind of con their way into stuff, and you know what? That's a skill in itself.
And it is upsetting.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be...
Yeah, I
it'd
understand.
be upsetting for anyone to work for 30 years to attain something and then see somebody do it in 5. It's just different strokes for different folks. Everyone has a different rate at what they when they achieve success.
Yeah.
There are people in LA who are 45 years old and are still PAing, and there are people who are 21 and are owners of a company. It's just people take different opportunities and they take different steps to get to the same place.
Everyone's life is everyone has their own life, their own steps, and their own path. And I think, and where Jimmy's path has led him is Davis and Maine.
Yeah.
And I thought, what do you guys think of his new boss, Maine?
Cliff.
Yeah, Ed Begley Jr.
Yeah, Ed Begley Jr. His new boss, Ed Begley Jr.
Yes.
Very clear intention to parallel them because they're both playing music when we see them in this episode for the first time. One on the piano playing old school opera, and the other playing playing a ditty on his guitar.
Yeah, I really love that contrast because it was a really smart move to show. I mean, because to me, Cliff is sort of encouraging of Jimmy. And, this is sort of like the big brother he kind of always wanted in a way. And I think that's why they intentionally did the scenes with the music and him coming in, the making a joke about the guitar. But then, Cliff is receptive to Jimmy. Chuck would have dismissed him.
I think the main difference here that people overlook in this scene, or when comparing these two scenes, is it's not that one's playing a guitar and one's playing a piano. It's that Jimmy's brother. Is his brother name Charles? No, why am I thinking Charles? Chuck. I'm sorry, Chuck. Yeah, Chuck Charles. Chuck is playing a piano with a metronome, and he doesn't play without the metronome. And anytime he makes a mistake, he gets frustrated and restarts. Then you have Cliff at Davis and Maine. Cliff is playing jazz guitar. He's making it up as he goes. Yeah. And it's not about the tempo, and it's not about getting it right. It's not about some uppity opera. It's just about playing to relax yourself.
Yeah,
and that's
having fun.
It's obviously not Chuck.
He's blowing off steam, and he says, like, everybody needs something to help them blow off steam. I don't know. I think
mine is just cobbler squatting.
No.
Well,
it's a good hobby.
I think we did see in this episode Jimmy's way of blowing off steam. Like, it's scamming people. It's like it's running cons, like, essentially. Like, whether that's lying about, like, having investment money to get free tequila or lying to the police. Like, that is, weirdly enough, that is how he relaxes. That's how he blows off steam, and he can keep going with this very standard law practice and doing well. He's got a company car. He's got a real nice Mercedes.
I loved when he pulled that up at the nail salon and was telling all the ladies about it. Like, that was just such a, like, smooth guy move, and they're all like,
I like that. Like, it was totally unnecessary to have the exchange happen there.
Yeah.
It was just like,
he just did it just to screw with her.
A big F you to the woman who wouldn't she wouldn't even let him have cucumber water.
I know, what a bitch.
I mean, I guess she rented the place out. She could have at least given him a cup of cucumber water every now and again.
Well, he took enough the last time.
He got his due.
I like that. What's really interesting to kind of and people are gonna hate me for digging, is that Kim gives him this really nice cup.
Yes.
That says "World's Best Lawyer," but then it has a second above
Second
the best.
best
That was
lawyer.
cute.
He's
Yeah.
like, just keeping it real because she's the best lawyer.
That was cute. I thought
Yeah.
it was a great display of their dynamic.
I love that their relationship actually went forward when he was scamming people. So that's his life that he likes sharing with Kim. It's not his official lawyer life, it's that life. So when he comes back and he gets the company car and her cup doesn't fit, it just kind of signifies like, can Kim fit into his professional life? Or can she only fit into the scamming Jimmy life?
Yeah, I agree. I saw that sort of as a metaphor as well. Is she going to fit in now that he's got corporate over here, con over here? How's he going to balance this and keep her at the same time?
Yeah.
I did love it. He's like, must be metric. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, very clearly, like, they fell in love, or whatever you will, when he was the mailroom clerk. They had a falling out when he went away from that to form his own company, to be his own lawyer. And now that he's back in the system, they're slowly getting back together. And the question of what does that mean? I think it was a very good use of metaphor to that. I can't put it. And I think it was a very clear.
Yeah.
This was actually, I think, the only Breaking Bad even semi-reference that we got in the whole episode was it was clear reference to his best lawyer, world's best lawyer mug from Breaking Bad.
Definitely.
But it's cute. I loved it. It's a very these are two worker people. They're workaholics. Their jobs are what define them. And so they're going to be in this together. They're going to have basically a friendly competition of who's the better lawyer.
Yeah, I mean, it's just every time I feel like I'm digging, I realize that it's all intentional. Everything that Vince Gilligan does, every scene is intentional. The fact that we spent an entire minute just watching Chuck set up the metronome and play piano and then mess up, and it's just all so intentional.
The choice of opera, last season, I remember we figured out there were paintings being or stuff in the background, and they ended up having deep metaphors. This is a show that is incredibly detailed. They leave if there's a stone in it, if you turned it over, I'll bet it would reveal something.
Yeah, it's even the light switch, there's got to be something significant. Even little bitty things.
And it's that kind of attention to detail is part of why this show is so good. They don't leave things to chance or accident. They've clearly thought through every step of this. And part of it, I think it's what's great about AMC as a network tends to allow their showrunners, their creators, to do their thing. They're not pushing. It would have been real easy to be Better Call Saul did really well season 1. We should make them double their episodes. We should make them do a 15-episode season or 20-episode season. No, they left it at 10 because 10 is a good number of episodes to tell a story.
Yeah.
10 hours of television is a perfect amount to just tell one story and move forward into the next chapter.
It's just like here at AfterBuzz, where the producers let us hosts do what we want to do because the fans just like it so much.
You mean when we have
I love this
When we
segment.
have
squat cobbler on the
squat cobbler on the table? There's two imprints of cheek-like things. And
whose
to
butt is
continue
it?
to let us do this kind of stuff, all we ask is that people go to iTunes and rate and subscribe and comment and leave us a comment. Zach, do you have those pulled up? I'm gradually getting them.
Well, while I pull those up, I'll just tell you guys, it is so important because it's part of how we keep the lights on. You guys writing those reviews helps other people find the show. That in turn helps us find sponsors that help keep this content coming to you for free every week. We do it completely at no charge so that you guys get to enjoy all the different shows. We're over, I think in our time here at AfterBuzz, we've covered over 400 television programs by now. And all of that is available so that you can talk about any TV show that you can think of. We're talking about it. We can't stop talking about television, and we want to be able to bring that to you every week. So go on to iTunes, hit us with a rating and review. If you hit us with a 5-star review, we'll give you a shout out on the show. It's that simple.
Did you get it pulled up?
I'm almost there, so keep stalling.
My iTunes is going so slow right now. Callers, lines are open. We're
No,
waiting for
I'm
you.
bringing it up right now. And yeah, I mean, you guys do a great job. You guys, thank you for everyone that's tuning in live. Option 0 says, "Boom 6." Yes, my catchphrase is people are using it.
Boom sex.
Boom
Yeah.
sex. All
Is
right.
that your catchphrase?
I've said it on like a dozen shows by now.
I'm sorry.
Like sex after a slippin' Jimmy scam, this after show is the perfect follow-up to Better Call Saul. Gilligan and Gould have packed in so many nuances in this show that a competent after show is essential to the experience, and this panel is the best. The hosts do an amazing job of unpacking each episode. Stephen Lemieux is a note-taking fiend. He and Zach Wilson play off each other to great humor. If you follow any ABTV Marvel show, you know that Zach is great at breaking down episodes. Sad to see Matt Lieberman and Peggy Rad go. They unfortunately couldn't join us this season. But Lacretia did a great job as a new panel member. All this said, if there is no Cinnabon on the next panel, I am leaving 1-star review. Option 0, I hope the pie was enough.
Yeah, we can do Cinnabon
Seemed
next week.
way more appropriate.
Yeah.
Probably
Definitely.
Cinnabon season finale when we
Yeah.
go back to Gene.
In the chat, Penfold74 said these podcasts are really interesting, though I never suspected spending a part of the video watching Lemieux cramming cobbler down his throat. Well, he said gullet, but same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Objection.
Then we're drinking some white
Sustain.
cream here.
It's milk, Zach. You can call it milk. Your mustache looks very white right now. Okay, so this episode did not end there.
No, so like with Jimmy, I mean, there was some great stuff between him and Kim. I loved their little like footsie under the table, and that eventually led up to the moment when Chuck finally comes into the office. I think he's basically been like sitting there like stewing about Jimmy's progress, and he finally like, because we know that what he's dealing with is a psychosomatic response. Like he's not doesn't actually have a reaction to electronics. So he finally, this pushes him enough that he's like able to deal with it and go into the office. Basically just, I don't know, to like get in Jimmy's face. What do you think his motivation was of going in there?
Well, as you see what happens in the scene when he first comes in, it shakes Jimmy's confidence. And I think that was his whole point, was to shake his confidence and just really, push him. Because he knows that that's his button. He's always going to be his little brother.
Is Chuck that much of a dick?
I think so. I mean, I have 2 brothers, and they do that crap to each other all the time. That's just, one always wants to be better than the other one. And to me, what I liked about that scene, and really shows like the depth of his relationship with Kim, is his confidence is immediately restored when she puts her hand on his leg. And that to me is just like, in that moment, Jimmy felt he didn't need Chuck anymore too.
I think it's Chuck has this false sense of, I created you. And I think it's just, okay, Jimmy's getting all the spotlight, but if I'm there, they're going to know that I'm the real reason that Jimmy's doing this. I'm the real reason that Jimmy's getting the spotlight. And all the attention is going to be on me, and Jimmy doesn't get that spotlight.
So just as basically a reminder that
Jimmy's not the successful one. It's Chuck McGill.
Yeah. And again, that's another reason for him to change his name, so that new people that he's dealing with, new clients, new coworkers, they'll know him as Saul and not as a McGill. And that's enough to basically separate him. I did love the fact that like as soon as Kim puts her hand on his knee, on his thigh, he instantly like it brings him back to like, he's like, all right, I'm not focused on that jerk.
That's
Focused
what
on this
that's
woman.
what Lacretia was saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it just like, but
immediately.
his what I want to talk about with that is just like the switch in his performance in that moment. I thought Bob Odenkirk did a great job of displaying that, like that very real thing where you switch to like a different mentality.
Yeah, because he went in all confident, great, and then Chuck comes in, immediate change. I mean, and then Kim puts her hand. Again, change. Just, that was such a human response. And Bob, did an excellent job conveying all of those emotions so quickly.
Yeah. It's a great moment. And I think we're going to see a lot of development from her and Jimmy. I mean, skipping ahead, but we'll go back and we're going to talk about the Daniel Wormald, Mike, and Nacho storyline. But at the end with Jimmy and Kim, what did you guys think of her reaction to as she puts it, falsifying evidence.
Yeah, I really like that, because she is a straight shooter. And I think that's why he's attracted to her in a way, that she is, this good person and a good lawyer. But he is a little bit of a dark side. And she knows that. So what I liked is, yes, she's upset because he's kind of gone back to his old ways and this is illegal. She's worried about him losing his job and all this. But the thing is, she doesn't tell him to not do it. She just says she doesn't want to hear about it. That's what I thought was really interesting.
Hear no evil,
Yeah.
see no evil,
Yep.
speak no evil.
Because she knows he's going to continue to do it. People don't change that much.
I think it's for his sake.
Yeah.
It's for his sake that she doesn't want to hear about it, because she doesn't want to be forced into a position where she's testifying against the man she loves.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
I mean, they're not. It's not like they're married. Like
Yeah,
she
the
could
soap opera would do that.
She could absolutely be forced to testify against him if it came down to it. And I think she's also, there's got to be a part of her that's worried that he might fake sandpiper evidence. I mean, there's a lot more people involved, so you would have a lot harder of a time with it.
Well, it's not even that he would fake it, because I don't think he would fake it. But the problem is he's creating this case against a huge company.
Mm-hmm.
And if it were to be found, that huge company's got to find any way to discredit the people suing him. So let's say he does come to court with huge evidence and he's representing Davis and Maine, and then it comes to light that he's fabricated evidence in the past. All of his cases could get mistrials. Everything, all of the evidence that he's brought could be thrown out of court for the possibility of it having been fabricated.
Well, I mean, it could.
It throws in enough plausible doubt.
It could reopen examination of certain evidence, certainly, but I wouldn't necessarily overturn previous cases unless somebody filed a specific appeal about a specific piece of evidence. But it definitely, I mean, it has to shake her that, like, this. She knows he's a scam artist.
Yeah.
She's witnessed it. She's been a part of it. But I think hearing about something that what they did with Ken Wins last week, and then in last week's episode, was technically not breaking the law. It was maybe immoral, maybe wrong, but not illegal.
Yeah.
They weren't under oath. They weren't doing anything that would warrant arrest. But even though this wasn't in court, the fact that he shot a video, which, by the way,
Yes.
I'm going to need the show to go make that video and post it for us.
I tried to look up some squat cobbler videos. So far, I haven't seen many.
Wait, you really?
Of course, you guys weren't curious? So Google
I
Scott
guess
Cobbler.
you're
I'm
not
a pervert,
looking
I
at the
guess.
wrong
Yeah.
sites.
Yeah.
You got to go dark web on this.
Dark web. All right.
Yeah.
The Spider Fighter.
Yeah, you gotta, there's a whole treasure trove of crybaby squats.
Hey man,
Private
squat
response.
cobbling is a victimless fetish.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Except for the pie.
With
The pie suffers.
dangerously delicious results.
Oh, my God. Delicious for who, though?
The only victim is my waistline.
God damn it.
In your
That pun
pants,
took the
if you're
cake.
wearing 'em.
Sorry. Took the
You- Yeah, thank you.
As I take a bite.
But yeah, so let's go back and we'll come back to how Jimmy goes about this whole thing as we go through this. But Daniel Wormald
Oh, God.
pulls up to Mike's
Place of
ticket
work.
booth in his crazy flame decaled Hummer.
I'm just gonna visit the police to talk about my baseball cards.
More baseball cards.
Baseball cards.
Still hilarious every time he says baseball.
I need to get my baseball cards back.
And see, what I love is just Mike doesn't even hardly say anything in this episode. Everything is just on his face. And I'm
Yeah.
like, thank God for Jonathan Banks. Because he's just looking at this guy like, what a freaking moron.
Jonathan Banks
Yeah.
brings it so much in this episode. Like, in that scene when he's just like, pull around, we're gonna have a chat.
Yeah. Your baseball cards. Like, seriously?
And, like, he points out, like, yeah, that was stupid.
They're inviting you for a fishing trip. They just want you to get to say what they're suspicious
I'm
about.
not
Yeah.
here as a criminal.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm here as my legal self, not my drug dealing self.
Yeah, that's all the same person.
I'm only talking about my baseball cards.
They're gonna arrest
They're my father's.
you. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what pulled on his heartstrings there.
Yeah, Penfold in the chat says biggest dumbass in TV history.
That's a pretty hard feat.
That's a bit. I think there's some pretty like higher people higher on that list, but Daniel Wormald's got to be up there.
I just think what's great is the dimensions to the characters they involve in these cases. I mean, even the Kettlemans, like, they were just so neurotic in their own right that it just made them very entertaining. And this guy, he's just been entertaining from the moment we've met him on this show.
Oh yeah, the Kettlemans were amazing last season.
Yeah, so having this guy, it's like I'm with like the shows that do that where it's like a case of the week kind of thing. Usually you don't get to know the people involved. You're just following like the lawyers or the agents or whatever. This show just does such a good job with you really liking and learning about these people and hating them or loving them. You have these characters that are so interesting.
Yeah. Well, because we don't hate him. We kind of like him because we all kind of have that fantasy. Like, we're just like regular people, but like, hey, what if we could just deal some drugs on the side?
You guys have never done that?
Get a new car, a new set of baseball cards.
Baseball cards.
Well, you should really make sure it's in low light setting, because even artificial light has a little bit of ultraviolet.
Yeah, I get you saying.
Oh my god. But yeah, so I mean, Mike is basically sees like how he can take advantage of the situation, because Mike, remember, is still trying to make money to support his granddaughter.
Yeah.
That's his whole thing. Basically, from here on out, that's Mike's goal. Like, because we know where he winds up in Breaking Bad, more or less. And like, just in case there are people watching who didn't see it, we don't have to go into the details. But he does continue to search for money for his granddaughter. That's his overarching goal. For as long as we'll know him. So I love that. Like, this is we're going to see that play out. Right now, that is going to play out as, well, I'm going to have to get this guy his baseball cards back. And he doesn't even miss a beat. He's like, all right, I'm going to go see Nacho.
I love that he's like, he already knows exactly where Nacho is. He knows everything about him. All right, give me the cards. This is a carrot and stick situation. Here's the stick. Tuco Salamanca. Get Tuco back in the picture. Mm-hmm.
He's got that stoic Mike charm.
Yeah, all right.
The stick is Tuco Salamanca.
Big enough stick for you.
There's just too many stick puns there.
The carrot is you give me $10,000 in the cards, and you get $60,000. How do you work that out? And the next scene, he is buying the damn Hummer.
Yeah.
You gotta make sure you polish it in the mornings, because the dew can get all over it, and then make sure that you only fill it up past half empty, otherwise the car can deteriorate and the gas. Yeah, I'm sure to tell them at the chop shop.
Yeah, and premium gas. Premium gas. I know they think it's a waste of money. I loved he kept repeating that. It's like,
the
really?
look on his face when they said chop shop. Oh. He had never been more horrified.
It's like, my baby. Oh, my hideous big yellow with flames on it baby.
He's just like, oh my god. Because, like, destroy that thing. Never.
Just get rid of it.
I mean, they would. Nobody
would drive that.
Nobody drives those things anymore. I saw one on the street the other day. It was the first one I'd seen like a year.
I was actually driving behind one on the way to work today.
Oh, really?
And obviously they can't stay in their lane, so it was really annoying.
They take up more than one lane.
Yeah, they go 20 miles under the speed limit and can't stay in their lane.
They're only useful for driving out into abandoned building lots in the desert for drug deals.
You can just turn them into mobile houses. They're that big. Yeah, pretty big.
Yeah. You can have multiple climate zones, man.
Or if
have
you
a girl in the back in a bikini, in the middle in a parka.
If you ever start selling pharmaceuticals, you can buy one. And then take it to your drug dealers so people think you're cool. And then just make sure that you keep your baseball cards in there, because it'll keep them nice and climate controlled.
Or just don't let the drug dealer into your car.
Yeah.
Not that they would have had trouble finding him if they'd tried. Like, how many yellow flame decaled Hummers exist in Albuquerque?
Yeah, and it's really easy to look up information like
Probably.
that.
Well, easier now than it was. In 2002, it wouldn't have been easy.
Unfortunately, probably more than we think. Depressingly so.
But how many of them have a license plate? Playa.
Yeah, playa.
Probably more than we think. Depressingly so. Some use 4s for A's, the others use 7s for Y's.
But so that's when Mike needs to bring in Jimmy.
Oh my god.
Still working out on the fringe of the law. I don't have that exact quote written down.
Wait, are you still morally flexible? I think is what he says. Morally flexible?
That's Jimmy. Yeah. Morally flexible. Yeah. And that leads... how good is that scene with the two cops? Like, everything about it is just, like, perfectly built. Just
like, I don't
comedy and, like, insanity.
He is paid for creating art in video form.
Yes.
No, it's not paintings. It's interactive art that titillizes your senses. No, it's not porn. It's not porn. I don't know. It's just got so ridiculous, and like you're building up. Like, what is he gonna say that he does? Is it gonna be like him on a leash? Is it going to be like the big woman syndrome where people like the women who are really tall and like beat them up and stuff? Or like
the baby fetish. You could have been anything.
The porn idea was perfect because it is something that he would be wildly embarrassed about. Can't let anybody find out. Like,
and have a hiding place.
That's why he could have a hiding place. Like, maybe it's a little
overly suspicious still.
Overly suspicious. Overkill. Like, maybe it's a little overkill to hide them in the wall, but it's something you could totally see someone doing. It's the perfect reasonable doubt that you would need. And
it's not illegal. It's just very plausible that someone will be embarrassed about that.
Now, here's the question. Yeah. Do you think that Jimmy came up with the squat cobbler idea beforehand or right in the room? Was he like, he had porn as an idea and then like in the room got caught up and just like came up with squat cobbler on the spot?
To me, just the way that it played out, I'm pretty sure he was hoping not to ever have to come up with anything. But as they keep asking, and they're not getting that it's some sick fetish type crap, he just had to come up with the most ridiculous scenario. And the only disappointing thing about that scene, I thought, is why was it not Officer Baker and Saxton? It's like, who are these two cops? But yeah.
Well, these guys would be detectives.
Yeah, they would be, but it was just
as opposed to patrolmen.
Yeah.
I think he made it up on the spot. Yeah. I think he made it up on the spot because sometimes you just don't really think of people sitting on pies. But if you were to think of like on the spot, like what would be a funny fetish for somebody to have?
What would be
sits on a delicious gooey apple pie?
What's the weirdest fetish you can think of? Well, you got the Hoboken squat cobbler,
Boston cream splat,
the full moon pie. The Simple Simon the Ass Man?
Simple Simon the Ass Man.
Or the Dutch Apple Ass.
What are some other names we could come up with this?
Roosting on the pumpkin.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
The Thanksgiving ruin. Thanksgiving ruiner.
Oh god.
I mean, because maybe it has something different east of the Rockies. What's the East Coast?
Yeah, the mince meat pie.
Coconut cream sitter.
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
I don't know. Like, they were pretty clever. They came up with some really good ones.
Yeah. Oh my god. See, I want to know, like, they had to have come up with this, right?
I just see Jimmy thought that.
No. Like Jimmy, like whether Jimmy did or not. I mean the writers.
Yeah.
Did the writers come up with this as a concept, or is this a real thing?
Yeah, because I mean. So, when I Googled it, I pretty much just saw a bunch of stuff from Better Call Saul. But, yeah, I mean, we'd have to go to the deep, darkest pits of the internet maybe to find that this is a real thing. But I could also see Vince Gilligan, from when he was on X-Files, writing. He's a sick bastard. That guy. You know, so he probably thought of this and was like, oh my god, what's the weirdest thing I could think of to be this fetish?
I'm going to say that this is probably not a real fetish that
No.
has been at least endorsed by a porn industry yet.
It is now.
But you do have to know that when you type in SQ to Google, the first thing that is suggested is squat cobbler.
No way.
I'm pretty sure that this show has introduced a new level of fetishism. In fact, let me see if squatcobbler.com is taken.
Oh my god, it's true.
If not, then
Like, are you trying to find squat? Are you trying to buy squatcobbler.com?
Squatcobbler.com is like related. Like people could buy it if they wanted to.
Oh my god.
Somebody like owns it, but you could buy it off of them probably for a
how
hefty
much
sum.
would people pay for these fetish videos? Because
Well, you'd be the first on the market
I'm
if
like,
you were to go out there and try to create some, sell them.
yeah, dress like a sad clown, cry, and sit on some pies.
Oh yeah,
How
don't
much money could I
forget
make?
he technically he does a crybaby squat.
Yeah, crybaby squat cobbler is a little bit more.
He's got some
it's more niche.
Yeah, more niche.
He's got some costumes going on here.
Yeah, and to me, it's just my first image was just like the sad clown because I just keep thinking of John Wayne Gacy for some reason every time I watch this show. But yeah, like I just picture him sad clown, sort of like that Basket show with Zach Galifianakis, crying all in like a cherry pie, maybe with some warrant in the background. Like,
I mean, the
I wanna
first
make that
time
video.
you see a squat cobbler video, you've truly popped a cherry.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking is the song.
Alistair in the chat rolls thinks
Cherry pie.
it should be called a juicy pastry cushion.
Oh, I like that. Oh, and then that totally would have ruined the pastries in the office later. Yeah.
Like with Kim
Yeah.
adjusting
Yeah.
the Danishes. Ugh. Oh yeah, that was another little callback. If you guys don't remember, there is I guess a history between the old guy in the conference room. I think his name was Francis. Mm-hmm. We met him in the pilot of season 1.
Oh, cool.
He like said hello to Jimmy by name in that first time where Jimmy comes into the office and starts yelling.
Also, I like that she was taking initiative to sit next to Jimmy. That was cute.
That was awesome. Yeah, we didn't mention that. Yeah, that she actively like went and swapped seats around so that she and Jimmy could sit next to each other. And they scooted their chairs closer together than anybody else.
They're cute.
The rest of the room had to know, like, everyone else is sitting pretty evenly spaced out, and then these two just slide their chairs together. It's like,
They're doing it.
is this middle school? Because you guys are real close together.
Yeah, and I just love how
Hands
it's
where I can
obvious.
see them.
Yeah, but no one cares, I guess, because it's not like they technically work at the same firm. Because he's over in the Santa Fe office.
Yeah.
The flaky... there's something with flaky.
The
Flaky.
Philo dough pillow cushion. Pillow dough. Pillow dough. You ever go pillow doughing?
The blueberry ball buster. That's when you drip your nuts on. Okay, wait, I was just going to explain this. What? This is a family program, right?
Blackberry whoopee cushion.
No.
Blackberry whoopee cushion.
Yeah.
The Australian shepherd's fun pie.
Shepherd's fun pie.
The shepherd shit fest.
Oh God. Oh man.
Right,
There's so many. I want to let's. You know what? I want to know for next week, guys. Hashtag tweet us.
Yes.
Use the use the hashtag ABTVSaul so we can find it. Come up with your best. Better
Squat cobbler fetish names. Yeah.
You see, you just saw the same thing I did because Alice Derrick coming back with it again. Flaky fruit felch. I don't even know what it means, but it disturbs me on a whole other level.
If you really
but
want
yeah, hashtag ABTVSaul. What is your best alternate name for the squat cobbler? You can put it on there. Put it in the comments below on YouTube. Any of those places will be a great way for us to find your alternate name for squat cobbler.
Thanksgiving diaper.
Oh man, Jason L said he was actually thinking about him being in Barney the dinosaur costume. That's even darker than my clown one.
Oh my god. All right, super weird. All right, we've got a few minutes left. I think it's time that we go into some predictions.
Cordial cherry squat.
Now, your AfterBuzz
The
TV.
Dingleberry Crouch from Oh Shit It's.
Yeah. Alistair says, don't Google felching. Don't worry, Alistair. I watch South Park, so I know what felching is.
Okay, next week we've got some interesting stuff in the preview. Somebody's in Texas. They're shooting a TV commercial to reach out for more potential people to join the class action lawsuit. So it's like those late night things that you see where they're like, call in now if you've experienced have you had your arm broken? Call Jimmy McGill at 212. This will be the first version of the Saul commercials.
And see, it's awesome that they're doing it in Texas, because if you're like from Texas by me, or have ever watched TV there, we have the most ridiculous guy that does that, Brian Lawncar. And I just so hope that they make fun of him.
You guys, the chat is just killing me.
Oh my god.
The Hershey Highway turnover.
Oh, well.
And the gooey strawberry stew.
Real simple. Jason just coming in with the vanilla ice cream.
Yeah. Simple, but still dirty.
All right. Guys, tweet at us the rest of them. 'cause
Yeah, we're not gonna read anymore.
I gotta close this because I'm just laughing.
What
too
other
hard.
what other predictions do you guys have for next week, Steven?
I don't want to do predictions this week.
No?
No, I don't want to do it.
All right. Well, there's some interesting stuff. I think we're going to see more from Mike. I'm excited to see what happens, because Nacho, I don't think he's going to take what came to him lying down. Like,
No.
he's going to go through with that deal because, honestly, like, he doesn't have a choice at that point. If Tuco finds out about his side business, he's not going to have his legs anymore, or probably his life. Like, Tuco will give him the old Colombian necktie.
There's one thing Tuco doesn't like. People doing side businesses and disrespecting his abuelita.
Mi abuelita!
Mi abuelita!
Biznatch! Sorry. Okay. But yeah, so I think basically Mike is going to have to be on high alert for what Nacho's got in store for him. And I'm excited to see how that storyline progresses, or what other jobs Mike might wind up doing that he will need Jimmy's help on.
Yeah, because I'm really hoping for another Pimento this season. Just an episode of Mike being the hard ass that he is.
I see Nacho using Mike in a cooperative sense. I don't see him going after him for this.
Interesting.
I think because he says my business is concluded. You know what? This was a win-win, really. Mm-hmm. He gets to walk away. He doesn't have to sell stolen merchandise because he reported the cards stolen, so it would have been impossible to change them into fluid money. Walks away with a car that goes to Chop Shop, gets around $60,000. You know, that's a win-win for Nacho and Mike. So I don't think Nacho's really walking away from this bitter. More of like an ego thing. His ego was hurt a little bit, but I don't think it's enough to go after Mike. I think, if anything, he now knows how resourceful Mike is, and it might be something where if Tuco needs something, Nacho might get Mike involved to help Tuco.
Yeah, I can see that. That could be really interesting. And so I think with that, that's gonna be it for Cobbler. Here, the episode Cobbler here at AfterBuzz TV's Better Call Saul after show. I officially bring this after show to a close. Thank you guys so much for joining us. As we've said, follow us on Twitter at AfterBuzz TV. Follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes, all of the different places. We're on SoundCloud as well. There's so many places that you can listen to. So many ways that you can support. Leave us a review and a comment. Let us know in the hashtag what you think Squat Cobbler might also be called. Until next week, put that away, Steven. Oh my god. Before we go and eat some more pie, Steven, where can everyone find you?
You guys find me on Twitter at Steven Lemieux, StephenLemieux.
Hey, find me all over the internet, since there's only one, at LACRETIALYON.
And there's a lot of different versions of people with my name, so you can find me at that Zach Wilson, ThatZachWilson on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So many ways, so many other shows, including Agent Carter penultimate episodes tonight. And we'll be talking about that here live on AfterBuzz TV. Guys, I'm Zach Wilson, and thanks for geeking out with us.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AFTERBUZZ TV.
Cobble you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AFTERBUZZ TV or its owners or principals.